Connor, something else we want to talk about is it's February. It's cold outside, but that means we are 1 month away from a time of madness. And can you believe that March Madness is right around the corner?
I cannot, and I know we don't usually like to talk about coronavirus on this show, but I can remember coming up on about a year ago this March, and that being one of the big first dominoes to fall. So it's really awesome to have this game coming back for us here with March Madness.
And that all-out blitz does not work when Patrick Mahomes just runs around it.
But one of the neat things, for sure, is in the same way that the NBA and MLS had their bubbles, March Madness is going to have its bubble. March Madness is going to make sure that they can get this tournament done. I think it's a lot of fun that March Madness will be all in the state of Indiana. Being in Orlando, it would have been fun to have it in Florida, but, the fact that, it's, kind of so much basketball pride is there in Indiana, and a lot of these venues are very, very close to each other. So you can cycle in a lot of teams out pretty easily. I think is going to be a lot of fun. And, Indianapolis did a great job with their Super Bowl, so I think there's no reason to think that they're not going to do a great job with March Madness.
Oh, it's going to be a really cool event, and I think that it's neat that that we're expanding the bubble concept to where we took the baby infancy of what was this summer with the MLS and the NBA, and now we're doing it for other sports to keep people safe. So, Connor, when people fill out their bracket, where should they put, what should they think of some of the traditional powers like Kansas and Duke and North Carolina and Kentucky? I mean, those are usually pretty sure bets. So how are they doing this year?
For those who might not have followed college basketball as closely this year, the interesting thing is that the good teams aren't all that good this year. Duke is 7-6 and unranked, and oddly enough, Coach K has been putting everybody on blast. If you've been following him, Kentucky is 5-10, and Coach Calipari has also had a lot of interesting takes throughout the course of the season. Kansas 11-6, ranked 22nd. Then you got a team like Alabama who's doing really well. They're ranked number 9. So when you see that bracket, don't feel like you have to pick the traditional powers because the traditional powers have really struggled this year.
They really have. There's sort of a sort of shift in the world, and actually the conference to beat this year, someone that goes high in the power rankings, not the actual rankings, is the Big 12 with Baylor, Texas, and Oklahoma have all been doing really, really well. But it's been sort of surprising, different year. It's also, when you mention Alabama, Alabama is undefeated in SEC basketball. And while the SEC is not known to be the basketball conference, still to be undefeated in a season with a conference that contains Kentucky, where usually they run away from everybody, I think that's a very different world to look at for the sport.
That was quite a poor throw by Patrick Mahomes there, off of his off back foot.
As he spun around in a circle.
I think to give another hot take here, I don't know if you're ready for all the heat that I'm bringing tonight, seeing as it's so cold where we are in Florida. One of the interesting things that I think that you're going to see is not just the first round upsets, although I think ultimately you're going to have, it's not going to be a total upset. I think that this could be a great year for multiple lower seeds to really sneak in, make an Elite Eight appearance, maybe have two, teams below a 7 seed make the Final Four because they're not traveling as far, right? You don't got to go all over the place. I'm unsure specifically as to the travel schedules, but even if teams fly back and forth, there still will be some familiarity of getting into those places, getting into those stadiums, things like that. So, be ready for, as much as some teams that are usually pretty good have struggled. Once you get into the tournament, all it takes is for one team to get hot, and they don't have that added piece of travel to take into consideration.
Definitely is. So whenever you do to put together your bracket, pay attention to the championship weekends as the games play out. Make sure to know it's going to be a different March Madness. We will host our own March Madness bracket here on Friend Stream Sports. So check out